I was bullied a lot in high school, and my mom didn't intervene because she was dating the bully's dad. Years later, when I was 22, I decided to get back at them. I've been away from home for the past 4 years. I left for college at 18 and ended up working there, so I never came back except for occasional visits. Honestly, I did miss my childhood home much because growing up there wasn't pleasant. I was relentlessly bullied for everything. I grew up poor after my dad died when I was 10, so we struggled to make ends meet. Although we had food, it was just enough to get by. I was also very tall and skinny, which made me an easy target for teasing. People called me names like Slender Man, and I tried to brush it off, but it really hurt. High school was the worst. There was a group of girls who enjoyed making fun of me and bullying me, although they picked on everyone. I was a favorite target, which made me insecure about almost everything. My appearance, my home life, everything. I wanted to disappear. Once they bullied me because my jeans were too short because I was tall. I didn't want to bother my mom for a new pair, so I kept wearing them. They wouldn't stop teasing me about it, and I ended up running to the girls' restroom in tears and locked myself in a stall. When I tried to leave, I realized they had locked it from the outside. I could hear them laughing outside until the janitor rescued me. Despite all this, I couldn't do much because of my mom. When I first told her about the bullying, instead of helping me, she told me to stay quiet and ignore it. I never understood why she wanted me to stay silent, no matter how many times I asked. She just kept saying we were too poor to start fights with everyone who made fun of us. My mom was always busy working and couldn't come to school with me to address the bullying issue. She told me to toughen up and not complain about it myself because she didn't want to deal with parents getting involved. I didn't like letting things slide, but I did it for her sake since she worked so hard. After high school, I started college in another state, which was a much-needed fresh start for me. My dad had left me a college fund, and my mom sent me money occasionally. I also worked part-time, which gave me enough money to buy new outfits. People in college were more mature and welcoming, and I didn't face bullying anymore. I only visited home during holidays to see my mom and friends, but I preferred living away from home because it reminded me of tough times. Recently, I returned home for Christmas and planned to surprise my mom with a gift. However, before I could do that, she surprised me by revealing she'd been dating someone for a few months and wanted me to meet him. I was happy for her, considering she'd been single most of her life after my dad passed away. Although she hadn't mentioned him before, I didn't take it personally. She kept his identity a secret, making it a surprise when I finally met her mystery boyfriend. After flying back home a couple of days ago, I'm still seething with anger. When I returned, my mom told me her boyfriend and his kids were there, and she blindfolded me to surprise me in the living room. I was excited to meet them, bringing chocolates and flowers, but when she removed the blindfold, my heart sank. Standing before me was the same girl who bullied me relentlessly in high school, now smiling as if nothing had happened. She held the hand of her younger brother, around 14 or 15 years old. I couldn't focus on what her dad was saying because my head felt fuzzy and strange. After a few moments of shock, I turned and walked upstairs to my room without a word. I locked the door to keep everyone out and tried to calm down. But then my mom came after me, scolding me for being rude and insisting I come back down to apologize to her boyfriend. I interrupted her and asked how long she'd been seeing this man, suspecting she'd been lying to me to keep me visiting so she could spring this on me. Her hesitation confirmed my suspicions. When she admitted it had been nearly 7 years, everything clicked into place. I realized why she never let me complain about bullying. She cared more about protecting this man and his daughter than her own child. I was in disbelief. I told her to leave me alone, unable to stand being around her. She argued, claiming she kept it a secret because she thought I missed my dad and wanted to spare me pain. But that wasn't the reason for my anger. She had lied to me all those years and allowed me to be bullied, even though she could have stopped it by standing up to her boyfriend and teaching his daughter not to bully others. I couldn't forgive her for that betrayal. She tried to explain that when their relationship was new, she didn't want to cause problems because of his daughter's behavior. She defended her actions, but I couldn't accept her excuses. After a while, she left, saying she'd talk to me when I came out of my room and that dinner would be served at 9 o'clock, so I should come down soon. I wasn't in the mood to talk to her or anyone else. I was horrified and angry that my mom had prioritized her relationship with this man over being my mom. Her main focus should have been protecting me, not her romantic relationship. I couldn't understand how she thought her explanation would make me feel okay about the situation. The more I sat in my room thinking about it, the angrier I became. I remembered all the nights I cried myself to sleep in that bed, and it felt incredibly unfair. So I did something rash and probably stupid. I called the police and reported my mother. I wanted to sue her for everything she put me through. Instead of going to a lawyer, I called the police and tried to press charges. They arrived shortly after, and it took me some time to explain what had happened. My mother and her boyfriend tried to dismiss it, saying I was being hysterical. The police seemed to understand I was having a breakdown and suggested I talk to a family lawyer. After they left, I was still worked up, feeling a panic attack coming on. My mother flipped out, refusing to let me go back to my room, yelling at me for being ungrateful and calling the cops on her, with her boyfriend agreeing I had gone too far. I wanted to argue back, but I felt my chest tightening and got dizzy. Eventually, I think I collapsed or fainted because the next thing I knew, I was waking up in the ER. Apparently, I had passed out due to lack of food, water, and stress. I had refused to eat or drink anything at my mom's house, which explained my condition. The nurse told me I had been unconscious for about an hour, and my mother had been waiting to see me. I felt a bit guilty, but all my anger seemed to fade away. She dropped by to explain that despite understanding my sense of betrayal, she believed her actions were necessary. She insisted there was nothing wrong with prioritizing her own relationship over her daughter. She tried to downplay the seriousness of my bullying experience by saying her boyfriend's daughter meant no harm and it was all in good fun, implying I shouldn't have taken it so seriously. I couldn't believe she was defending her choices and even expecting me to apologize to my bully for involving the law. I told her to leave the room and leave me alone. Since then, I've packed my things and moved to a hotel for the remainder of my stay, and my mother didn't try to stop me. Now, I'm considering suing her for intentionally causing me emotional distress throughout high school and denying me a safe environment to grow up in, despite having the means to intervene. I'm hesitant because it could ruin our relationship and I don't have other family to rely on. However, I feel I can't let this go. I've always let things slide, but this feels too significant to forgive. Despite trying to see things from her perspective, I can't justify her actions, and I feel justified in wanting to take legal action against my mother for failing to protect me from bullying during high school. Update 1. I found out more about my mother and her boyfriend's history. I confided in my friend about what happened recently, and although she was surprised, she mentioned that everyone in our neighborhood knew about it. However, these rumors never reached me because I was quiet and kept to myself. My friend didn't tell me to spare me unnecessary worry, and the bullies never mentioned it either, likely because the ringleader's dad was involved. It turns out that my mother had been having an affair with this man, who happened to be a surgeon at the same hospital where my mom worked as a front desk employee. People spotted them holding hands near their workplace, and the affair had apparently been going on since my freshman year of high school. Learning all of this shocked me, and I blamed myself for being so introverted. Knowing this earlier could have changed things for me back then. I'm disgusted by my mother's actions, especially because she lectured me about family loyalty while having an affair with a married man. She used this argument to make me feel guilty for calling the cops on her. The hypocrisy is unbelievable. Her boyfriend recently divorced his wife, and he and his younger son moved in with my mother afterward. The daughter who bullied me in high school moved away around the same time I did, so she probably doesn't know about this arrangement either. The whole story my mother told about this being a new relationship was a lie. She tried to deceive me into believing it had only been a few months, not 8 whole years. I'm completely disgusted and at a loss for words. My mother hasn't reached out to apologize or explain anything to me. I've gone ahead and filed a lawsuit against my mother for causing me emotional distress. Thankfully, I convinced my bosses to let me work remotely during this time, and I'm staying with a friend to save money on hotel bills. My mother found out about the lawsuit a few hours ago and is furious. She called me to ask what I thought I was doing, and I told her straight up. I'm seeking revenge for her turning her back on me when I needed her most. She refused to support me then, so now she'll have to compensate for it financially. Back then, she kept using our financial situation and her busy work schedule as excuses for not standing up for me against the bullies. Now that I know those were just excuses, I believe I deserve some compensation, especially since I'll need therapy in the future. She called me ungrateful and insisted her actions were justified, but she sounded unsure herself. I don't think she truly believes she's in the right. Even if I lose the lawsuit, I'll take satisfaction in knowing I stood up to her instead of letting it go as she always advised me to do. I'm reaching out to old classmates and teachers from high school, hoping they'll support me and help me win this case. I haven't heard anything from my mother's boyfriend or my high school bully, and I hope it stays that way because I have no desire to speak to them right now. My mother has been bombarding me with texts, insisting I'm making a mistake and will regret my actions forever. But I've made my decision and won't take it back now. Today, I guess she sent her boyfriend's daughter as a peace offering, thinking she could resolve the issues since she's the one who bullied me in the first place. My mother believed that sending her to apologize would make me forgive her. But that's not how it works. The visit was incredibly awkward. I had nothing to say to her and didn't want her to talk to me or apologize. Truth be told, I was okay with holding onto my resentment forever because her insults from high school still bothered me after all these years and likely always will. She started by apologizing for her behavior in high school, admitting she was immature and dumb back then, and wanted my forgiveness. I didn't truly mean it, but I told her I forgave her and asked her to leave since I had nothing else to discuss. Instead, she stayed and suggested that since I forgave her, I should forgive my mother too, just like she forgave her dad for cheating on her mom and stayed in his life. The truth is, she only forgave her dad because he was wealthy, and she wanted to benefit financially. Her mom settled their divorce without much fuss because of the money she received in the settlement and ongoing alimony. I pointed this out, and she got defensive, accusing me of being jealous that my mother never spent money on me despite her dad sending money every month during high school. I grew up thinking we were poor, but my mom had a wealthy boyfriend and kept her spending secret. My high school bully seemed unhappy after letting this slip, but I heard it loud and clear, and we both knew it would come up in court. I told her to leave me alone, and she did, warning me that I was making a big mistake by cutting out the only family I had left. Fortunately, I no longer consider my mother family, so it doesn't matter to me. If my mother had stood by me when I asked her to, we wouldn't be in this situation. She only thought about herself, and now here we are. It's been a challenging couple of weeks, I won't sugarcoat it. I've been working tirelessly day and night to gather evidence proving my mother treated me awfully. I juggle my job during the day and collaborate with my lawyer whenever needed, which has made everything tense. The final hearing date is approaching rapidly, and I've managed to substantiate all my claims with solid proof. My mother's lawyer, funded by her boyfriend, is putting up a strong defense with the best family lawyer money can buy. This has extended the legal process more than expected, but I remain confident in my truth. I'm incredibly stressed right now, hoping that the upcoming meeting will go well and finally put an end to this ordeal. Once this is over, my mother will be out of my life for good. She stopped texting me, and both she and her boyfriend, along with his daughter, are actively spreading negativity about me online, trying to turn people against me. Despite this, I have the truth on my side. Additionally, my underdog image from high school seems to be working in my favor, as people refuse to believe I'm the ungrateful, selfish person they want me to be seen as. I'm hopeful that I'll win this case. It would be a monumental victory for me, not just financially, but emotionally too. Finally triumphing over those who tried to ruin my life would make all the effort worthwhile. I'm thrilled to share that I won my case, and my mother ended up paying me $50,000 in damages for the intentional emotional distress she caused me. It still feels surreal, but it's true. I made sure to settle my legal fees first and also gig my friend, who graciously let me stay with her, a token of my appreciation with some of the money. Next week, I'm finally flying back to my real home, and I can leave all this behind. My mother and her boyfriend aren't happy about the outcome, judging by their social media posts where they claim the law unfairly punished her for being a good parent trying to support her supposedly greedy and immoral daughter. Despite their words, they wished me well. As for my high school bully, they've now blocked me. It doesn't bother me anymore because their opinions hold no weight now that I've emerged victorious. They lost and I won. That's a defeat they'll have to live with for the rest of their lives.